Hey, welcome into Shockerland. I'm Billy and this is Kyle. Thanks for joining us. This is the first one. History is being made right
History
here.
is being made, ladies and gentlemen.
And you're here on the very beginning. You are here and see, one day, it's at the end of the season, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people here. But you are here. And so thank you for joining us to talk all things Wichita State basketball. We're excited about this season. It's going to be an amazing season. And so Shockerland.com is going to be your home for analysis, insight, updates, news, info, everything that's going on for this basketball season for the Wichita State Shockers. You can find it at Shockerland, including these videos / podcasts that we're going to do on a regular basis. So I'm excited about it. And we're going to jump right in, Kyle. I don't want to waste any time. Talking about this upcoming season. First of all, let's talk about what has happened already. There's been 2 exhibition games.
Yes.
And the Shockers won, of course, because exhibition games are kind of a joke a little bit. It's not all about winning, it's just about trying. What have you seen from these exhibition games?
So far, I've really liked what I've seen.
Yeah.
Shamet did not play the first game, Landry Shamet. Marcus McDuffie hasn't played either game because they're both dealing with foot injuries, but I've really liked the depth of the team so far.
Yeah.
It seems like people like Ronald Nerger, Shaq Morris, Connor Frankamp, they've all gotten a lot better throughout the offseason, and so I'm excited to see the depth of this team and just how far they can go.
Okay, here's what I want to know. Okay, so we know the Shockers are going to be good, right? Okay, they're going to be good. Come on, they're going to be good. Everybody's back. Everybody's back. Including Greg Marshall. So we've got the best coach in the country potentially, arguably, at least who's not under investigation by the FBI. So that's a good thing.
That's true. That helps.
So great coaching, great experience. You've got a lot of guys coming back. Shamet is healthier than we thought.
Yes.
He'd been dealing with that foot thing. So now he's at least playing. So here's my question: we know they're going to be good. How good? Okay, because and maybe define good for us. What would that look like? Because some teams have a good season and they go deep in the NIT.
Right.
And I don't think that's good now for the Shockers. I think the expectations are higher than the NIT. So what's good? Is good being competitive in this new AAC conference? Is good being better than a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament? Is good Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four? What is good? What can we expect out of this team?
I'll phrase it a different way. I think what would be a letdown for this season is if they didn't make the NCAA tournament.
Big letdown.
And if they didn't advance at least to the Sweet 16.
Okay.
Anything less than that, I think, would be a letdown. I think the fans have such high expectations this year, rightfully so. And so I think to be good, we would have to advance possibly even to the Elite 8 and beyond.
Yeah. So one better than
Yes.
1 or 2 games better. Last year they lost in the second round with a terrible seeding. We'll maybe
Worst
talk about
seeding
that.
ever.
10 seed that had to play Kentucky in that second round. But we're not bitter at all from that. So we're talking then. If we're talking Elite 8 team, I mean we're talking top 10 program in the country, right?
Yes. I mean that's where they're starting. They're number 7 right now.
Yeah.
And that's with the 2 injuries, and so
Okay.
I think the sky's the limit.
Okay, so that's big picture, I guess. Let's kind of break this down a little bit. We've gone through the exhibitions. The non-conference schedule gets started this Friday.
Yes.
Okay, so season opener, UMKC is the team, and then one more, and then they go to Maui, which is fun.
Correct.
We will not be reporting live.
I
from
wish
Maui,
we could be there, unfortunately.
We're reporting live from in front of our fireplace right now. But so what can we expect? What do you want the Shockers to do in this non-conference before they get to what's going to be, I think, a really fun AAC conference schedule? Before they can get there, they got to play a couple of non-conference games, and they got to go in this tournament, which I think is going to see some good competition again.
Oh yes, absolutely. I think for the non-conference, they'll have to win a lot of these games. It's unfortunate McDuffie will be out until mid-December at the earliest, and so I think they're going to have to beat Oklahoma. They're playing at Baylor, which will be a tough one. I think they'll be able to pull that out. It'll be interesting. And then Maui, as you mentioned, you have a lot of good competition there. Michigan's in that field, Notre Dame, VCU, Marquette. And so they're going to be able to get at least 2 quality opponents. And if they can win 2 or 3, they'll be pretty good.
Good. It'd be great to see that happen.
Yes.
Okay. So I've got a controversial take here. Are you ready for this? I'm going to
I'm ready.
say something that's maybe a little, maybe you may not agree. I don't know. Here's my take. What happens in the next month does not matter. Doesn't matter. Here's why. Okay. Compared to last season. Last season they go to that early season tournament, and they played, who was it? LSU?
Yes,
Michigan?
They destroyed LSU that first game.
Yep, and then they played 2 ranked teams.
They played Michigan State and Louisville.
State. Yeah, Michigan State, Louisville, and lost.
Lost both those.
And, okay, good quality losses, you could say, because those were both ranked teams. And then you go through the Missouri Valley Conference, who we look back at, and, that was the sweet high school girlfriend who we dumped for somebody better once we grew up. Boy, that was harsh. I'm sorry, but that's kind of how I see it.
Harsh but true.
So we go through the MVC, and yeah, we beat everybody. We slip up once, but we just demolish everybody. But it didn't matter. So when we got to the selection Sunday, when we have to, when we're going to the NCAA tournament, and the Shockers, get seeded, the only thing the committee has to look at is a bunch of blowouts against a bunch of teams that are not good.
Right.
And then a couple of ranked teams super early in the season when this team was still developing and coming to its own. And so it hurt. It hurt because they didn't play anybody else throughout the rest of the season. And so we ended up with a 10 seed. This year, if we win in Maui, if I'm saying we, like I'm part of the team. If the Shockers win in Maui or lose in Maui or whatever, regardless of what happens, if they win, great, and they go on and play the regular season. If they lose, they have so many more resume builders throughout the conference season now as they play in the AAC. They're playing Cincinnati and a bunch of other UConn, a bunch of other good teams, that it doesn't matter. They can make up for those losses now, which is the beauty. It's the reason why you want to be in a better conference than the Missouri Valley. So whatever happens, I'm going to watch. I'm going to be excited about what happens. But in my thinking, it doesn't matter as much now because you can make up what might have been lost with a poor performance in an early season tournament. Does that make sense? You see that?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'll disagree with you to some degree.
Okay.
Because when it all comes down to it, seeding is everything in the NCAA tournament. And so if the Shockers lose 2, 3, 4 games in a non-conference, I think their seeding potential is just so much lower than if they were to beat a Michigan, Oklahoma, Baylor, and like last year you mentioned, in the American Conference last year, SMU and Cincinnati were the top 2 teams.
Yeah.
They each had, I believe, 2 losses in conference the entire year. They were phenomenal teams, but they both ended up with 6 seeds. And so that was because they didn't have a lot of non-conference wins. The conference in itself wasn't that great last year. And so these non-conference games are just hugely important, not only for WSU, but for other teams in the American when they face each other.
Okay, but 6 seed.
Yes.
Way better than a 10 seed. Would you take a 6 seed right now? Would you be happy if the Shockers, if we could fast forward and now it's March and we're getting ready to, do they do it in March or February? Whenever Selection Sunday is.
March, yeah.
Would you take a 6 seed? Would you say, you know what, I'll take that, guaranteed?
If we ended up with the 6th seed, I would be content because we'd be in the tournament and anything can happen.
You're a first round favorite.
But I'm a gambler, and I think they can have a much better seed than that.
You're saying they're top 25.
I could see a 1, 2, a 3,
team.
or 4 quite easily.
Sure.
Just depends on non-conference wins and these injuries. If McDuffie can come back fully healthy, if Shamet can be great from the get-go, because they're going to need him.
Yeah.
And so
I'd say anything worse than a 6 seed right now would be a disappointment. So
yes,
just that's where I would draw that line. 7 seed where you got to play a 2 seed again, second round.
Because then we know that second round game will be Kentucky, or
exactly.
Kansas,
Kentucky.
And
this year it's Kentucky / Adidas. I think. That's a little Either way. So let's quickly move along. I don't know how long this is taking. We'll just run with it.
Let's do it.
So the conference schedule now. So we're through the exhibitions, Maui. We're the tournament in Maui. We're through the non-conference. The conference schedule. what are we looking for? Because it's not just when do we play Northern Iowa now, or whatever that one team we find in the MVC. Now there's a bunch of really good matchups. Who do you see as the top one? I think Cincinnati's got to be there, obviously. What else?
Cincinnati, they're number 12 in the polls. I like UCF, Central Florida. Temple should be much better this year. UConn, some people aren't really sure where they're going to finish up. They have some great guards. Let's see, who else? Tulsa might be better this year. SMU has been great the past 3 or 4 years, so they'll be in it. And so there's 18 conference games this year. I'd say 4 of those will be bottom feeders, and 14 others will be top 50, top 100 opponents.
As opposed to the exact other way around.
Yes, it's a complete flip from last year.
So that's good. I think it'll make for a more enjoyable, more entertaining regular season.
Oh, yes. Every game will be nationally televised. Every game will be much more exciting than, watching Missouri Valley games against Illinois State on ESPN3 with Casey's General Store as a sponsor. So it's a slight step up, for sure.
But here's the thing, though, and I think fans need a reality check here. Because my opinion, again, I think the days of 31-0, which was what an amazing season that was, I don't think that's realistic for a team that I could argue this year is better than 31-0 team.
Oh, yeah.
Better than that team. But to go 31-0 or whatever it would end up being this year is going to be a much more difficult task than to go 31-0, what was that, 2 years ago? Because of the competition. So Shockers fans, don't expect undefeated.
Right.
In my opinion.
I agree.
Don't expect.
It could happen.
It
would not surprise me one bit.
But expect, 3-4 losses would be reasonable to expect in this conference?
Oh, yeah. I would think so. Just playing at Cincinnati, playing at SMU, at UConn, at Temple. I mean, those are all tough opponents, and it's a little different than playing at Evansville or at even Northern Iowa. So it'll be an adjustment, but
there's another one, and this is a question way too early to ask, but I'm asking you anyway, because this is the inaugural show, and we've got to make it good. Is this team then better than Ron Baker, Fred Van Vliet team? Is it?
Which season?
I don't know. Well,
their senior season, I would say so.
You think so?
Yes, because their senior season, it was pretty much Ron and Fred.
That was it.
And then some younger guys
that Connor hit a 3 or something.
Hadn't really developed fully. And so I think this team is deeper. This team's depth reminds me of the Final Four run. So this
which was still Fred and Ron.
Right.
So this team is better than a team that had 2 NBA guys.
I think so.
Wow.
I mean, it's still early.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I'm asking too early, but
right.
Wow.
But I think the potential is even higher than that team.
Okay. Yeah, that's exciting, right? That should get Shocker fans really excited. But then again, I don't think it's reasonable for Shockers fans to expect undefeated as well.
And expect more losses.
Yeah.
Don't be frustrated if they lose 2 games back to back in conference. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
These will probably be top 25, top 50 opponents, and so
that's the question. I know the Shockers can handle losses. Can Shocker fans handle losses? Regular season losses would be difficult, especially in January and February when we're used to just running the table. So through the regular season now, let's go way out there to kind of wrap things up, talking about the AAC conference tournament and then the NCAA tournament. Again, expectations-wise, or just what do you think? How far can we expect to go? It's bye-bye Arch Madness. That's not a thing anymore. It's still a thing, but it's not a concern to Wichita State anymore. And it's going to be way east, right? Is that where
this year the tournament will be in Orlando.
That's
so a slight step up from St. Louis.
Well, it's just longer, and if you think about it, and this is going to be all season long. There are longer road trips this year.
Oh yeah.
When you have to go to the East so many times in this very spread out conference, that may have an impact on the legs. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it'll have a marginal impact because this team has flown to every game for the most part. Even I think, for the exception of Missouri State in conference, they fly. Mm-hmm. And so yes, flying to Temple in Philadelphia or to Central Florida in Orlando is a little farther away, but Is an extra hour on a plane going to make a difference?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Who knows?
maybe not. I don't know.
So in that conference tournament, obviously you like to win it, but let's be honest here, and this is not a knock against it. It might be a knock against the Shockers. I don't know. They couldn't win the MVC tournament most years. Why would they expect to win the AAC tournament? Is that fair criticism?
That's a fair question.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's been the only, I don't want to say mark on their resume, but they've won it, I think, twice in the Greg Marshall era.
Yeah.
And that one year was the perfect season where they just blew away everyone.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe there was a St. Louis curse. I don't know. But this will be definitely more competition. But also, it might be easier in some regard because when you're in St. Louis, you're playing all these teams that have to win in order to play in the NCAA tournament.
That's a good point.
And so if you're playing Cincinnati, if you're playing Temple or SMU, they might already be in the field, and so they might not be
That's interesting. Yeah.
as enthusiastic and give it their all as opposed to Illinois State and Northern Iowa.
That's a good point. And do you think, I don't know, do the Shockers have a target on the back like they did in the MVC? And in the MVC, everybody who played them brought their best. It was their Super Bowl.
It really was.
It was their Super Bowl,
attendance
especially
would go
on the
up.
road. Especially when they
Yep.
played at an opponent's place. Every game was a blackout or a whiteout or a redout or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen in the AAC.
Not to that degree.
Yeah.
I think because of their lofty rankings, I think there's been a lot of preseason hype about this team, and there might be a little animosity with some of these schools saying, oh, it's this new kid in town, and they're already being picked to win this conference. There might be a little bit, but they won't be their Super Bowl like it had been in previous seasons.
Okay. And then we already talked about the NCAA tournament a little bit already. 6 seed or better is probably what we should expect,
Yes.
and probably better.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think at 1, 2, 3, or 4 would be the ideal.
Yeah. It's we know it can't be in Wichita, which is unfortunately. Even Wichita is finally hosting those first round games. Maybe KU will make it here. They could come here. But
I believe the next closest host site is Dallas. So even if they were to get in Dallas, that would still be 5 hours away, and
That's
there'd
not
be a lot of fans that would drive down for that.
That's pretty cool. So how about let's wrap up with one bold prediction. And I didn't tell you we were going to do this, so I'm springing it on you.
Oh, I got one.
Okay, what's one bold prediction for the season?
My bold prediction is at some point this season, the Shockers will be ranked number 1 in the country.
Okay, wow, that is bold because that's assuming that they're going to win some games.
Yes.
Pretty early then. Okay. I should have thought of a bold prediction myself. Here's my one bold prediction. I'm going to call it right now. I think the Shockers go undefeated at home. Undefeated at home because I don't think the AAC is ready for Koch Arena.
I agree with that.
I don't think they've
most
experienced.
hostile
environment. I think it'll
conference.
be a hostile environment for fans, especially because I think Shockers fans are just starved for some competition.
I know I am.
When's the last big game that really was just a punching match, a boxing match for the Shockers in Koch Arena? All their big games in previous years has been in tournament play away from Wichita.
Right.
So I go back to last year when
Illinois State came to town last year.
and it was supposed to be so big, and we blew them away.
We blew them out by 40
Ridiculous.
points, something like that. It was,
That and the place was rocking. It was an amazing atmosphere because I think Shockers fans wanted something close. I think they wanted a game where it was 10 minutes left in the second half and it wasn't a 30-point blowout. And you're seeing Shockers players getting subbed in, and you're trying to remember who their name is. You're trying to read the back of their jersey to remember, okay, who's this scrub that never got in but now he gets in? No, I think Shockers fans I think Koch Arena is gonna be even more intimidating to play in, and I don't think the AAC is ready for that. So my bold prediction is they go undefeated in the regular season.
Makes sense.
At home.
I can dig
at
it.
home. Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us this week. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do this on a regular basis. We're going to have a podcast version of just audio, so you don't have to look at our faces if you don't want to, in our shiny tops of our heads. And then we'll have this video as well. In addition, we have stories rocking on a regular basis on Shockerland.com. Go check out our analysis of the games, our previews of the games, and we have some fun things going on along the way as well. We're on Twitter at Shockerland and Facebook page as well, so find us there, follow us, share us with your friends, and if you have questions for us that we can read while we're doing these videos and podcasts, send them our way through their social media accounts. Get in contact with us that way. If you've got some questions you want us to answer or just topics to talk about, send them our way. So, hey, thanks a lot for joining us. This for Kyle. I'm Billy. Thanks for joining us on Shockerland.